All right, guys, it's your boy again, Allende, and we're back on Authentic Alphas. So, I'm going to share with you guys the second part of that live stream with Chantel Simone and the brothers that came on and basically gave you their opinions, their views, and their experiences on traveling as an American dude, trying out other countries, other cultures, and of course, other women. And it was a pretty long live stream, so this is the second part right here, guys. You already know what we're trying to do. We're trying to encourage you guys to weigh your options, and also we're arming you with the truth so that you don't have to, like, I don't know, be discouraged by the shaming language. Because a lot of women are saying that you're going there for broke women, or you're going there because you ain't got no game, or because you can't get women in America, blah 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 blah. So this is just part two of answering what it is exactly that's driving so many Western men and American men in particular into these other countries, into the arms of these other traditional women. All right, guys, so check out part two.
All right, let's go back to that whole unmarried pick me, because you say you'll never, ever, ever date an American chick. And I don't want the FBAs come for my neck. We're talking about just Western feminist minded women. But they're unmarried pick me's out in these streets. So what are your thoughts on that?
We elaborate more. Like, what do I think about the women that are pick-me's in the United
Yeah,
States?
the women who are our pick me's, who, yeah, in America, unmarried pick me's in America.
What about them?
Dang. If a lot of men are saying that they'll never like, so say
But Chantel, that's not the women though. That's not about the women. That's about the environment. You know what I mean?
You say women in the United States. Austin looks turning to Stevie Wonder.
Austin said, what about that?
No, you know, Austin's in that phase, man. I know Grover was there. I was there too when American women couldn't tell me nothing, man. Like, I didn't even want to conversate with them. They were invisible. I was just saving up for my next trip somewhere else. I'll be honest with you, man. The money goes so much further, so much more appreciation. You're not going to waste your time with American women once you start traveling. You're just not, because of the contrast.
You mean to tell me that?
Well,
you
Chantel,
mean to tell me if you cross path with a pick me?
I want to answer your question about the pick me's. It goes back to that analogy of going and having to run a gauntlet to get that fresh piece of fruit. Like, the bottom line is that, we give women a lot of credit for their past trauma, and women don't give men any credit for, just banging their head against a brick wall repeatedly until they say, wait, we ain't going to do this no more. And so I think that it's a little illogical to think that we're going to look for that person, that one person, that diamond in the rough, and search so hard, because they might be a chameleon, posing as a pick me, when we can go and get something that's more genuine and more to our liking. And also, I'll tell you this, competition is okay, but you got to have something worth competing for. And a lot of these attitudes that we get, especially nowadays, I feel sorry for some of you young cats, because I just see it progressively getting a little worse. I'm starting to sound like the old dudes of my family, but it's just, the tide's going the wrong way. So I definitely think that, to your question about the pick-me's, I would say, like, you can't expect people to have to search for that diamond in the rough. That's illogical.
So it's a situation where it's like they're in abundance in other countries. So your chances of finding 1 or 10 in another country as opposed to finding one here. So you're not even going to bother waste your time looking.
You wouldn't look for a diamond in a pile of crap.
Chantel, I want to differentiate something real quick, because I think this is something that guys understand a little bit better than women, typically speaking. There's a difference between will and ability, okay? Just because you want to be a mother doesn't mean you have the skill set to be a mother. Just because you want to be married doesn't mean you have the skill set to be a wife. So what you have is, you have some women that are using some logic and realizing, you know what? All of this feminist, independent, I don't need no man shit, it ain't working out for nobody. I don't want it. It's not going to make me happy. I do want a man to support me and help me. I do want a healthy relationship, so on and so forth. But here's the thing, though. She was not raised to be a wife. So although she does see how that would be a better choice, I can't just choose to be a doctor because I feel like it. I have to be qualified to be a doctor. You know what I mean? I can't just go tell somebody, open up their mouth, let me work on your teeth. because I feel like being a dentist today. I would have had to have went to dental school. So what happens is when you go to these other countries, not only are the women that want to be girlfriends and wives in abundance, but women that were raised to be girlfriends and wives is in abundance. They have the skill set. Now, the next thing I want to, clarify is that regardless of how good or sweet a woman is or says she wants to be, the environment is still poisonous. So if you have something on your plate that's good for you, it's healthy or whatever, but everything else on your plate is poisonous, you're eating that meal altogether. Your ass gonna throw up and have food poisoning. But there was something on that plate that was clean and good for you or whatever, but everything else you ate was poisonous. So you can go marry this woman that says, I want to be your wife and blah, blah, blah. But once she gets emotional, everything in her environment is going to be telling her, take them to the divorce court, take them to family court, take this, take that. You deserve better. Why are you cooking for him? Why are you cleaning for him? Why are you doing what you're told? If you were upset, why didn't you tell everybody you was upset? Why are you waiting till you get home to air your dirty laundry? Embarrass him in front of everybody, girl. So what happens is,
but I gotta push back with that logic, though. I gotta push back on that logic. Because what you're telling me is like someone like myself or someone like Lucky Marie, who is born in America, who is American, you're telling us that because we were born here or we were born in this culture, then there's no hope for us.
What I'm telling you is that this is my opinion. Guys can do whatever they want to do. That's not what this is about. That's another thing that's different between male advice and female advice. Females are tearing you apart just because you're trying to be neutral and non-biased, just because you're trying to think logically and say what's best for both females and men, or even what's best for females. Other women are going to tear you apart because you're not in the echo chamber and saying what they're comfortable with, and you're challenging them to change, grow, improve, and better, and get better results. So they're going to tear you apart. But guys, we're more like, listen, whatever works for you. But in my personal opinion and my experience, because I was married and I was married in America, I wouldn't recommend that anybody sign no marriage contract in America, because it's not so much the woman, it's the environment. It's not what she is guaranteed to do or what she wants to do. It's what she can do at any moment. So what happens is it's like a house of cards. Relationships in America are like a house of cards, okay? It's like dominoes. You set everything up real gentle, real nice. You're doing what you're supposed to do as a man, okay? You have a plan, you have a vision, you're doing everything, you're working hard, you're setting everything up, you're committed and dedicated to this life, this family, this woman. And then if she so much as changes her mind, has a bad day, decides that she's not happy, those dominoes are all knocking down. Those cards are all coming down. You're losing your house, you're losing your car, you're losing your friends, you're losing your family, you're losing your kids, you're losing everything, because this country not only allows it, it encourages it. So sorry, it's too dangerous. And women, they take everything personal. They think, oh, he don't want to marry me. It's not you, baby. I don't want to marry in America. So I hear what you're saying, but your friends, are they all talking the same? Your sisters, your female cousins, your aunties, are they all talking the same? Your lawyer, is she talking the same? The judge, is he talking the same? No, they all talking about destroy that motherfucker, take all his stuff, okay, and take his kids too. That's what everyone else is saying.
So then should a unmarried pick me move?
I don't know what to do. My channel is Authentic Alphas. My channel is Authentic Alphas. I'm here for men. I give women some game here and there, but I'm invested in what's best for men. And men, we have the clock on our side. We have time. You can go ahead and make some mistakes, and you can still pull yourself up, get a passport, do what you got to do. And that's why there's always a caveat with that passport advice. Don't go fall in love and bring one of them chicks here. Because once you bring her here, it's, I want half, Eddie. I want half. Because everybody's going to be influencing her like that. Every chick in the nail salon, every chick in the supermarket, every female is going to be telling her, here in America, you ain't got to do what your man tell you to do. You ain't got to. And men are over here trying to protect women in general. I am everything but a father and a grandfather. I'm everything else. I'm a brother. I'm a son. I'm an uncle. You see what I mean? So I have to be looking out for the females in my family. I have to be looking out for my female friends. But women don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the advice. They don't want to hear the leadership. And it's just a bunch of guys trying to say, hey, girl, look out. Hey, sis, don't do that. Hey, you probably didn't want to do this. And they don't want to hear it. We hating, we criticizing them, we this, we that. And we're just trying to be good men. So what do you think is going to happen? If an employee is not appreciated and they know how much they bring to the table, eventually that employee is going to look for employment elsewhere. Everybody should be doing what's best for them. Unfortunately, right now, American Black women are not what's best for us. And I hate to say that because I believe in that we are Israelites. I believe that we are God's people. I believe in all of that. But right now, black women are making it far too impossible. I don't even want to say difficult because black men have been trying and dealing with the unnecessary difficulty for decades. It's to the point now where it's impossible to deal with the women here. That's why I agree with Austin. It's a wrap right now.
But until there's a fundamental shift in the idea of how people feel and think about relationships in this country, it's going to be very hard pressed for a man to put their. I mean, I just want you to think about this, and I want to put it in this way: a man works his whole life, maybe 50 years old, maybe he has a lot of stuff, a lot of property, a lot of things, and he says, "Okay, let me find a woman, and maybe she's older, right? And let me marry her." You know, I want to give a shot. I just don't want to die alone, right? And it's going to be very hard pressed for a man in that situation. Maybe he's already been through a divorce. Maybe he's already been through the ringer to say to himself, okay, let me put myself in this type of jeopardy again. I mean, I see a lot of things, people saying, well, you know, these women just want your visa. Well, let me tell you something about Brazilian women. All the Brazilian women who want to leave, they're already in Europe because they don't need a visa to go to Europe. You could talk to me and I probably know half of the visa laws because I do international business for a living for years. And so it's like Brazilian women don't need your visa. If Brazilian women want to go, they'll go to a place with a higher standard of living than the United States. So they don't need your visa. If a Brazilian woman's in Brazil, she's in Brazil because she wants to be in Brazil. The average Thai person loves Thailand. The Thai people don't really want to leave Thailand. They want to be around their people. So I think that, I mean, there's other countries where that may be different, like the Philippines may be different. I find a lot of Filipinos want to come to the United States, but especially with a lot of brothers going back and forth to Brazil. And I see people saying, well, they just want that passport. And it's like, well, there you go. That's not what they really want, because if they wanted that passport, they would already be gone and have a European Union passport, which is pretty powerful. You know, during the pandemic, it was more powerful than the United States passport. So I think we have to stop with all the shaming language and stop attacking people and understand. Here's the problem with me. Nobody ever says why. Why are they doing this? Why is this young man?
Just about to say.
Why is this young man, Austin, young man, well-to-do, well-spoken, obviously intelligent? Why is he going to get his ass on an airplane and leave? Is it that bad? Yes. I mean,
it's been that bad. It's been that bad.
What I want to highlight is why are we so negative towards it? To your point, Grover, why not ask why? You know? Yeah. But then also, why are we so? Yeah, we're so negative. And I'm gonna call out Lucky. Lucky, say something positive about them in the comment. You might be trolling, sis, but I want us to start saying something positive. Try to see it from their point of view, right? Go ahead.
Chantal, I just want to say something. I want to say this to all sisters. And I don't like using the word black to begin with. So all melanated sisters that are listening to this, I want you to really sit there and ask yourself, have you been as positive, as supportive, as encouraging as you could be to your men? And I'm not talking about men you're dating. I'm talking about what we call black men in general. I'm talking about your brothers, your uncles, your nephews, your black co-workers, your neighbors. Have you really been encouraging? Have you really been supporting? Have you been uplifting? Now, this is the problem that I've ran into with my brothers my entire life, basically. Because like I said, I've always been like a little passport kid. I've always had family all over the world. I've always traveled. By the age of 6, I had already been to 3 different countries. I don't mean visited 3 different countries. I mean lived in 3 different countries. So for me, it was just normal. I always understood that in Rome, they do what the Romans do. Okay, in China, they do what the Chinese do. I always understood that. Plus, my grandmother was Chinese, so I already had like a mixed cultures. I have an Uncle John who's Indian, so I always understood the mixture of cultures, like Delane was talking about. Plus, I'm from New York, which is a melting pot. But what I noticed about my American brothers is that they tolerated so much from black women because they didn't have a base of reference. The way black women treat them, they think that's women in general. And the moment they date a white girl, they're like, oh, hold up. This white girl is so, it's not this white girl. It's just any girls that aren't black. They haven't been raised to resent black men and treat black men like they're guilty until proven innocent. And even when you do prove you're innocent, their attitude is, well, you just ain't cheat on me yet. You just ain't did something to me yet, but you gonna do it because you a black man and you ain't shit. Who the fuck want to live with that? And excuse my language, but I'm passionate. Who wants to live with that? When you're already, like Austin said, performing at a higher level than the average typical brother. You know what I'm saying? I always had excellent grades, but still was an excellent athlete. I was always very artistic and an artist. I was always doing a bunch of things that one person shouldn't be good at that many things. And my peers, they were either just good at sports or they were just a super nerdy dude. There was never that well-roundedness. I'm the type of dude that I might watch, something gangster like Boys in the Hood, but at the same time, I'll be watching Friends and trying to understand Chandler and, you know what I'm saying, what white people be doing. So it's hard for you to really want to work with sisters when there's nothing in it for you. And then their attitude is, you're supposed to be with us because you're Black. Why? Why when everyone else appreciates us more and values us more? Why? And that's something that Black women need to acknowledge and take seriously, because nobody is showing Black women the type of love that Black men are. But when you look at the other side of the coin, everyone is showing more love to Black men than Black women. That's a huge disparity, Chantel. That is a frightening disparity when no one wants and loves Black women the way Black men do, but nobody treats Black men as poorly as Black women. That is a terrible differential.
And it's not even to say, I would much rather us to just shut up, just stay neutral. Like, we don't have to say anything nice, but we don't have to tear down Black men like that. And I know we're playing devil's advocate, but some of us just playing it too well. Let me get to the super chats real quick. I don't want to miss anybody. THPP Grover, I think this is your channel. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much.
That's my podcast partner, Scott, on a chat.
Hey, Scott. He said, again, men are expected to compete without mercy. Why should it be any different for women?
Mm-hmm. And it is overseas. I just want to throw that in there. I know Austin will agree. I know Grover will agree. The women are extremely competitive overseas because they know that you're a commodity. They know that there's very few of you. When I'm in Mexico, I don't see any other Black people. I don't see any other Black guys when I'm in Mexico. And they all want a Black guy. So,
But, I'm going to be honest, too. This is Chantel, not devil's advocate. The whole how y'all talk it up is like, there's no way it can be that great. Like, I can't even, I know I would have to be a man and I would have to date a couple feminists to figure.
We're downplaying it, actually. To be honest with you,
yeah.
Well, I would say this, Chantel, and I may have more experience because I lived as an adult 2 years in Southeast Asia, working every day. That there are some downsides too, and things that I'm more than happy to tell folks to pay attention to, because there are some things that you have to do culturally to make sure that you're okay. But the upside is the Empire State Building, and the downside is a little, 4-story walk up. And that's just the truth. It's just the truth.
They want the man, Chantel. So I do not want. Listen, let me tell you something. I like to have a winner mindset, and I like to encourage men to have a winner mindset, a champion mindset. And when you make excuses and you say, well, he only successful because of this, he only beat me because of that, it's only because listen, you're selling yourself short, because whatever potential you had, you just washed it down the drain because you're over here making excuses and justifying why your ass is coming in last. It don't matter why. Figure it out, because you should be concerned with winning regardless of what the factors are. So for women to sit here and keep on trying to convince themselves he can't handle a strong, independent woman. It's like, okay, well, then you're going to be a single, strong, independent woman, and you're going to be sitting there complaining about that Tatiana that got a ring on her finger and don't have to do nothing but change diapers, wash dishes, and check on his mom every once in a while. Okay? You're working hard like a man, and this woman gets to be taken care of by a man, and all you could say is that, well, she's a Tatiana. He want a girl that ain't got nothing going on for him. Or you're telling us that we're traveling for poor women. And I was telling Chantel, I think yesterday, the day before, that stayed stuck in my head because some chick was saying that about Austin. And I was laughing to myself thinking, the amount of women I know overseas that are doing better than women here, right? This chick came to see me in Mexico. She pulled up in a Porsche truck. You see what I'm saying? The chick a couple days before pulled up in a Chevy Sierra, not even a Silverado, a Sierra. You see what I'm saying? These chicks got nice stuff. This chick is a big time lawyer. This chick, it runs her own business. This chick has a house. It's like, stop assuming, because these women haven't even traveled. You haven't even gone to these places to even know what the attraction is. Stop assuming that these women are poor, and stop assuming they want our money or our passport. Like Grover said, a lot of these women are passionate about their country. They're patriotic. If you ask them to come move with you to America, you know what they would tell you? I'll visit. They don't want
Yeah.
to live in America. They want to stay in their damn country and live well and live nice. And I'm going to say one more thing. Do not be fooled, brothers, and do not be fooled, negative ass sisters. It is not your things that they want. They want the man. I promise you. These women want this brown skin. They want this American swagger. They want the cornrows. They want the fades. They want the Caesars. They want the afro. They want the dreadlocks. They want the man is what they want. Okay? Do not get it twisted. Black men are popular around the world because of hip hop culture or whatever. They look at us as the coolest kids on the block. So it doesn't even matter how much money you have. If you got enough money to get there, you're going to get play. Now, I'm going to say one more thing about money. What they consider money is enough money to raise a family. What women consider money in the West is buy me a Birkin bag, buy me red bottoms, buy me this biggest ring, buy me that. No, these women over there, they just want to be in a nice, comfortable area that's safe. They want to be able to have supplies and resources for them and their children, and they just want to live a comfortable life. They don't even want all this materialistic crap. Okay, so I just wanted to say that let's not get it twisted. These women want the man, and when it does come to money, they want money for the right reasons. Their hypergamy is in check. They want a dude that looks good, has good genetics, and can provide for a family, not spoil them and be superficial. And that's the problem with these Western women, and why it will never be enough for them. Because as soon as they open up their Instagram, some other nigga is buying some chick something she don't even need, let alone deserve. And now all of a sudden she thinks her man ain't good enough now because he ain't buying a Birkin bag.
And just, I'm sorry, Chantel. I just want to, I got to tack on one thing that my brother said. You know, in case you don't know, we rock with each other. We talk with each other all the time. So also, if you find somebody overseas who are chasing so much, they stick out like a sore thumb, and you know how to stay away from them. And that's the biggest thing. So if you see somebody who's just constantly, well, I need this and I need that and I need this and you got this and you got this, like, wait. Why are you so different than everybody else? So one of these kids is doing their own thing. You know how to step off. I mean, so I think once you learn how to look and find out the red flags, and it only takes a couple of things, because guess what? You're walking through a minefield here already. As long as you keep your eyes open and your eyes regular, you'll definitely understand and definitely know.
I'm curious to hear you guys is what were the women in your family, the Black women in your family, what were their thoughts on when you guys decided to get your passport? We'll start with you, Austin.
Well, at first, my mother thought that she said it irritated her a lot that I said I was going to get a girl from Brazil, but I do what I want. And now she supports my movement and she knows. And I told my mom she's one of the women that's part of the problem. I told her that.
Whew. Man,
okay.
Wait.
I rock with you, Austin.
Listen, Austin said,
I said what I said.
I appreciate how straightforward you are. And whoever wants to get triggered, just go ahead and get triggered. Grover, no, Authentic Alpha. What was the woman in your family? What were their
yeah. I mean that's real interesting because that's definitely been an experience in my life. Because like you, Chantal, I'm Jamaican, so you already know. My family, when I was small, they were so against American influences. I couldn't eat McDonald's. I couldn't have cereal. Like I couldn't do nothing American until I was like 11 or 12 and old enough to just basically go against them. But I always did travel. And like I said, my first girlfriend was actually in England. It was an Irish girl in England. And my mother found out about it. And she basically just teased me about it. And I don't know if she planted a seed, but my mother told me when I got back from England, she was like, I saw your little girlfriend. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, your aunt showed pictures or whatever. So she literally said to me, you're never going to date Black women. And I was young, you know, like the girl wanted to be boyfriend and girlfriend. I was so young, I didn't really care. I just wanted to play with Star Wars toys, right? But my mother said that to me, and maybe it kind of stuck in my head. But that was my base reference of a girlfriend. And I noticed the Black girls were difficult. I liked Black girls, but every time I tried to talk to them, they always had an attitude. They would look down at my shoes and then look back up at me and tell me I ain't got no car and I don't got this and I don't got that. And I'm like, well, I met you on the bus. And white girls would have me driving a daddy car. They would have me driving their car. You know what I mean? White girls.
So is it that Black girls are just high maintenance and you guys are low effort? You guys don't know how to maintain us?
Well, the problem is that in the Black community, we lost our ability to work together. It was taken from us. And you know, that's a whole nother conversation, but trust me, it was all intentional. They stripped away our ability to work together. Coming out of slavery, Black folk were doing better then than they're doing now. So it's not that we didn't know how to work together through oppression and racism and slavery. That's nonsense. It actually made the Black family stronger. But Black women lost this interest of working with a man to become more. They lost the ability to look at potential, look at ambition, and say, I'm going to work with this man to make him the best that he could be. I don't care about him going to basketball practice, but when he gets that letter in the mail saying that he got a scholarship to go to this college, that's when I'm going to jump on him. So when he gets a record deal, that's when I'm going to jump on him. That's the Black woman. They don't want to come until you're already successful. And at that point, the Black man is looking at her as just a groupie. I'm just being honest with you. Women cannot expect to come on when a man is already successful, he's already guaranteed, and then expect him to want to share that accomplishment with her because you weren't there when I was shooting in the gym. But back to your original question about my family, my mother is half Chinese and half Jamaican. Well, my grandmother was born and raised in Jamaica, but she was Chinese. Her parents were immigrants to Jamaica. So my family's all Jamaican, but my grandmother was Chinese by blood. So my mother was already mixed and light-skinned and grew up being treated poorly by Black women and dark-skinned women simply for being light-skinned. Girls always used to want to fight her. It was always a problem. My aunt used to always have to protect her because my aunt was dark-skinned. My sister is also a little bit lighter and kind of dealt with that. So out of all the women in my family, my mother and my sister are the only ones that don't have a problem with me dating out. But all my aunts, all my female cousins, they all hate it and they try to give me, you know, shit about it. But just like Austin, I have the attitude of, listen, you don't tell me what to do. I didn't tell you who to have a baby with. Don't tell me about the women I'm dating, and don't disrespect them if I bring them around. You keep that to yourself, dude. Because if you disrespect them, you're disrespecting me. So I put the Black women in my family in check when it comes to that. But please believe they have an issue with it. And now more and more of my cousins and my nephews are starting to actually deal with non-Black women. Right now, I have like 3 nephews that are mixed because their mothers are white. And my aunt, my female cousins, the sisters of my male cousins that have these children, are pissed about it, but they love the kids. So it's weird. They love those little light-skinned kids. That's another thing about Black women that's hypocritical. They criticize Black men for dating out, but then they prefer the mixed features in children. So go figure.
You know what? And Grover, we're gonna go to you and then no reservation. But when Austin come back, I want to dig a little bit deeper into the whole mama, like the comment he made about his mom being one of the reasons, and how Black mom, because I see Marvin's comments that I told my mother the very same thing, and that she destroyed her daughters and subsequently her granddaughters. They're all baby mamas and baby daddies. We're going to talk about it because, you know, one pushback that you guys will get is your mama Black. And from what I'm hearing, it's
mine not.
what I'm hearing is yes, exactly. That's what we get in our passport. Go ahead, Grover.
Well, I mean, my mom's, you know, my mom's Creole, and she's super light skinned. She loves her daughter. My mom did not care who I dated. What my mom cared was the character of the person I brought into our house. So like I brought a sister home one day and we were dating there. My mom opened and closed the door and looked at me and said, "Don't ever bring this bitch into my house again," because she was not a good person. And my mom, you know, like my mom's seen some stuff in her that I didn't see, right? You know, my bad. That's what my mom told me though. Right. So my mom doesn't care that, like, you know, she can give a damn where she's from. My mom, I mean, my mom is just like, possibly though, because like I was in the South and then I live in the Bay, you know, live in San Francisco, where everybody kind of rocks with everybody out here. So it's like a lot of times where people look at my situation, they're like, oh, well, it's kind of normal out here. Interracial marriages is really normal in the Bay Area. It's not, nobody even thinks about it anymore. I'm telling you. So, and I mean, it's very common to see like Vietnamese dudes dating Black girls, Scott. It's very common to see. It's very common. So it's no big deal. But my mom didn't care. My dad told me, you know, God bless his soul. My dad told me, you know, you're a man and you got to make your own choice. And as a man, you're going to lie in the bed that you make one way or the other. So make sure you choose right. I mean, so like my family in Texas, when we go back home, they all love her. You know, she's just their cousin or their niece, or, you know, so I'm not like a lot of stuff really, like I hear like a lot of stuff like I didn't have that experience with my mom because my mom is cool. My mom is like, as long as she's a good person. Let me tell you something. You come in my house cutting up, I had the mom that whooped everybody's ass in the house when we was young. Like, if you at her house and you acting up and you the neighbor's kid, you better go home. Better get out there quick, because if she catch you cutting up, everybody gonna get the belt. So she just does not take bad behavior, period, from no matter who the person is. And so when I brought women home who weren't up to par or who were like a little disrespectful, and I was just I was whipped, I guess, or I just wanted to get what I can get, mom wasn't gonna have it. And so I learned how to just bring good women home. And when I brought this woman home, my mom was elated. We're all moving in the house together. My mom's like, I can't wait to live with my daughter. So, I mean, I don't want to. So, like, I didn't have the same experience where it wasn't. It was weird. It's not weird. Like, Scott come to my house, whatever. If my mom's here, she's gonna be like, "Oh, Scott, make a plate." That's just how it's gonna be. So, I mean, maybe we're a little different because my family is mixed. I mean, I got family in South Africa, France, Puerto Rico. I got family in the Philippines. Just from people marrying out. So it's kind of like not a big deal to us. So I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question.
That is interesting. No, you did. Thank you. And we're gonna go to reservations. But I wanna point out the difference in women who support passport bros and the women who get triggered. I think what it is, it's because when you guys fly out, you're exposed to pick-me's, you're exposed to feminine women, and then the women who get triggered by you guys flying out feel intimidated because they know that they're gonna have to up their standards if they want one of you guys. No reservations. What was your mom's or the woman in your family's reaction to you dating out?
So before I get into that, I want to say that I'm a pretty positive brother, and a lot of my content, I'll say 100% of my content that I put out is completely positive. I know Austin, he shouted me out on a community page, and it was about a particular video I did. She was a Brazilian woman. She was Latina. She looks black. And I think I started getting attacked from women. And I have no hit pieces on women in America. I don't talk negative. And all my content, I never talk negative about any women. What I try to do is just talk positive about the places I visit. But anyway, to answer your question about my mom, I showed her a Brazilian woman, and she was black. And the way my mom is, don't be showing me a girl unless it's serious. So I really it wasn't much of a conversation there. But Austin, there is a big black population in Brazil, right? Isn't it the second largest black population in Brazil?
60%.
Right. So, I mean, if you want to fact check that, the second largest black population is in Brazil. A lot of slave escaped there. So it's not like we're leaving America, black women in America, to go somewhere else. In my case, I'm going to Brazil. I'm dating black. If you look at my content, the last 5 videos I put out 2 videos every single day this week that went by. It was the same Brazilian woman, and she looks like a black girl, but she's Afro. She's Afro Latina. She's black. So it's not like,
because I think that's a huge misconception too, and I find that's why a lot of the women get triggered because they think that you guys are dating outside of your race.
But if
Absolutely
somebody
not.
does, then
Absolutely
cool.
not, Chantel.
That's cool. If someone does that,
I don't think that's what it is
prerogative.
whatsoever.
Right. Go ahead, Alpha. Go ahead.
No, I didn't want to cut you off, Delang. I just wanted to get this thought out because I think it's very valuable to the women that keep on moving the goalposts, and that's exactly what it is. They keep moving the goalposts. One moment they'll tell you it's that, oh, you hate black, you hate your mother, you're racist against yourself, and all this other stuff, and then it's like, okay, well, what happens when the guys go get a Panamanian chick? What happens when they get a Dominican chick? What happens when they get a Brazilian chick? Then what is it? Then it's something else. Well, you just go into those countries because those women are poor. Okay, so you mean to tell me all these quote unquote dusties is impregnating these broke chicks in the hood and having these broken families and perpetuating this single motherhood in our country and in our culture, and basically making us look terrible around the world, and giving our children a disadvantage from jump. But yet you're criticizing men dating women of lower income in other countries, and those women want to actually stay together and have a family and keep the father in the house. You're moving the goalpost. So that's the thing. It's always something or the other trying to shame, when really you're losing at every turn. At every turn, you're losing that argument. It's not that, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. It's simply men want women that are going to cooperate, because that's how men that achieve operate. If you do well in sports, it's because you played well as a team. If you do well in business, it's because you did well with your colleagues. So whatever men are able to accomplish, it's through cooperation. Very few men can accomplish a lot on their own. Go build a house by yourself. Okay. So even as a man, I watched my grandfathers and my uncles, whenever they had housework to do, they called in another man. And from I was a boy, I was passing tools, learning what tools are what and what they do. I was doing as much as I could do with my size. And I couldn't wait to be big enough to help. I couldn't wait to be strong enough to lift something up, to jack up a car. You know what I mean? To be of utility, because that's how men value each other. What is your value and contribution to the team, to the squad? So when you're trying to pick that partner as a man, if you got your head on straight as a man, you operated in a masculine realm. You went to military school, you went to the military, you went to trade school, you worked at a factory, anywhere where you had to work with other men, and then you're trying to work with your woman and you're finding difficulty, it's frustrating. And if you're a leader and you lead other men, the last thing you want to do is come home and have a woman refuse you her cooperation. You're like, hold on, grown men do what I tell them to do. You know what I'm saying? Grown men respect my authority, and I got to come home and, you know what I mean, tug a war with you, and your argument's not even logical. So what happens is the man starts to have to become less just to survive in that environment. He starts having to tone himself down. And then when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't even recognize himself anymore. And then when he becomes weak and spineless, now she don't want him. Now she's finally ready to go. Now she's finally had enough. So you just wasted my time and you emasculated me. Great, good job. So Black women have to understand that we cannot be a strong culture without the women supporting the men. The men need that encouragement, that support and that respect. That's one of the biggest things that Black women struggle with. And now American women, they struggle with respecting men because of how they've been programmed. So I believe that they're victims, because Chantel says, so you blame it on the women. I'm not blaming it on the women, because we're all victims. When the society encourages women to take the man out the house, and then the boys get raised up to be a bunch of punks that can't do anything, that aren't capable, we all suffer. We're all victims. So the women are actually producing the same men that they call Dusties later on. You're producing the next level, the next generation of Dusties for the next generation of women to complain about, because you didn't pick a strong man and keep him around by all means necessary. And when you look at the relationships that last and the marriages that last, there's a lot of compromise. There's a lot of compromise, and Black women are not willing to compromise. Their ego is too damn big. They got too much pride, and they got too much ego, and any quality man worth his weight in salt is not going to waste time with that. So all the women that's complaining about the quality of Black men, I just want to let you know something. The highest quality Black men, it's falling on deaf ears, because they ain't in your proximity to hear you. So when you complain, the only people that hear you is the same Dusties that's trying to sleep with you. But the quality dudes, they cannot hear you because they are too far. They're either somewhere in the suburbs, in an affluent area or neighborhood, or they're in a whole other country. And every time I've lived in a high-priced neighborhood, every time I've lived in an affluent neighborhood, I can never find sisters. They ain't nowhere to be found. And if you do, it's the type of Black girls that were raised in the suburbs. They think, talk, and act like a white girl. So why is it that when these Black women get their education and make their money or whatever, they still do not move into the areas where quality men are going to be in the first place? When they're in college, the last thing on their mind is a long-term relationship or a marriage. They are shooting themselves in the foot because they don't know where to find, how to interest or attract quality men in the first place. Then they have the nerve to complain about the quality of men. There are quality men out there, sis. They just ain't checking for you. They're repelled by you. Because the choices that you make and the attitude that you keep, they are nowhere around you. And the quality brothers that's trying to be plumbers, trying to be mechanics, trying to work hard, they ain't good enough for you.
They're living miserable. Go ahead. I want to push a point because you said that, like we need to do teamwork. And this is a great point. This is a great part to wrap up on. If mods can please drop Andre and Andrea's channel. Austin, I want to say you're going over there next. Andre, if you're in here, if you can please drop your channel in the chat so we can join the conversation. We can continue the conversation over there. But one thing I want to push, all right, and I want to let's take our emotions out of it for those of the women who are triggered by men getting their passport. Let's think about these things logically, right? Men say they want fit, feminine, and friendly, but majority of y'all big boned, right? They want women who don't have kids. They don't want baby mamas, and half of y'all titty long because y'all had kids out of wedlock. So then why get mad at these men who want something that you can't give them? If you are a baby mama, if you are big boned, if you're titty long, you can't be with any of the men on the panel who date out. So why get mad at it? Why not just tell your daughters to make sure that they're not a baby mama so they can find themselves a man who is frustrated, like become pick me. We'll go final thoughts. We'll start with Austin. What are your final thoughts and a key thing that you want to leave the audience with?
The final thoughts on that, what you just said?
Yeah, just in general, like passport. Yeah, just in general, passport. If you want to talk to the triggered woman or the men or whoever you want to talk to.
Well, I really don't have much to say to trigger women because they're not going to listen anyway. But again, I stick with the same thing that men just need to get their passports. There's no need in even trying to talk with the women, discuss it with them. Like I said, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to change. They don't want to compete for you. They think you're nothing. But if you go to South America, you'll be everything.
So basically, it's like don't even bother pay attention to whatever they want to say or the shaming language that they want to say. Just ignore it and move on.
Well, if they, it seems like they want to reverse the roles and be men. So I mean, if an American woman wants me, she's gonna have to put in all the effort like I would have before.
Okay, solid point. Authentic alphas, will go to you for final thoughts.
Listen, I'm also not here trying to change any women's mind, but I give out, the truth for free to anybody who's willing to hear. So what I recommend these women do is you have to learn how to first humble yourself, because I'm telling you, that ego is the biggest thing. You got to humble yourself, sis, or just be alone. And that's cool too. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. But don't complain about what you're not willing to change, what you're not willing to put the work in. Stop making excuses for it and just accept the landscape as it is. Because when I talk to my Jewish clients and they're trying to tell me how to invest money, they don't tell me to invest in what my feelings want to invest in. They tell me to invest in what's good investments right now. Okay, it ain't about how I feel. It's about what's going to return me some money. So if women want to invest in their education, just know that that's all you're going to have is your education. If you want to invest in your career, just know that all you're going to have is your career. If you want a husband, guess what? Invest in a husband. All right, invest in building those relationships. And if it's too late for you, the one thing that you need to do is stop being selfish and at least raise your children that they will have better mindset and a better opportunity than you did. If you got a son, get him around either his father. If his father ain't a good man, get your son around strong men immediately. Get your son in boarding school, get him in military school, get him in a trade school, get him somewhere so his ass don't end up in prison. If you want him to be a real man, a strong man, and have the skill set that's required to function as a man in society as well as a family, get him from off your tit, stop being selfish, and let some real men raise him. And if you're not woman enough to raise your daughter, then you advise her to go seek that advice and that guidance rather than being stubborn and being in denial of your mistakes. And that's all I got to say.
Shout out to that. Get them off your tits. So the long titty mamas who trying to brainwash their sons. And guys, I did see the super chat. I'm just doing closing thoughts because I know Austin has to run over to Andre and Andrea soon. But I'll get to the super chats in a minute. Grover, what are your final thoughts?
I think that, instead of using shaming language and telling men that they can't get a woman here, which is not true. I don't think any man on this panel would have a problem if they really wanted to go to the rigmarole of getting a Western woman. Instead of doing that, women should wonder why. Why are our best men? Look, in order to get your passport, you can't be no felon because most people ain't gonna let you in. You can't even go to Canada with a DUI. So let's get it straight. Why are our best men, our men with the highest income bracket, going somewhere else? I would be damn shamed to let these resources go somewhere else if I was an American woman. I'd be upset a man making 6 figures plus for the last 10 years going to get somewhere and go somewhere else where he could find what he needs here. Obviously, they can't find what they need here. And also, one thing that Allende was saying was that, get these women to at least tell the older women tell the next generation. Well, the problem with that is that since women are in competition with each other, since the 45-year-old woman wants the same man that the 25-year-old woman wants, they're never going to tell them the truth, because you don't tell your competition the truth. Ford don't go over to GM and say, hey, this is how you beat the Mustang. And so we have to think really logically about it. And I'm all for men getting their passports if that's what they want to do. Because
Sorry, Grover, I don't mean to cut you off, but we have a long today bitter broad in the chat. Shout out to you, bitter broad. Welcome to the conversation. Continue, Grover.
It's okay. That chair gonna break in that picture though, but it's all right. Well, anyway, you don't come for me, man. I got it all day. You don't know. I'm just here being polite. I'm acting like I got sense. I'm a fool. The chair over there crying, But anyway, what I'm saying is that since they're in competition with each other, since Miss Piggy there is in competition with her daughter, trying to get her daughter's man that she wants, so they're never going to tell them the truth. So, if you want to go somewhere else to find what you need, then men, be libertarian about it and do what you got to do. Because guess what? Mr. Hollerman is responsible for his life. Mr. Gordon is responsible for his life. Mr. Isaac is responsible for his life. Mr. Reese Grover is responsible for his life. And I'm damn sure I ain't going to let somebody who ain't got nothing to do with my life tell me how to be happy.
100%. Laugh out loud as Miss Piggy. Shout
My
out
bad.
to you.
I try to keep it respectful. It's Sunday. And, I was raised in the church, but you come for me, I'll cut your throat, girl. Don't play.
It's the Lord's Day. No reservation. Let's go to you. What are your final thoughts?
So I'm gonna keep this short, guys. A lot of men that are traveling, they have mortgages back in the country that they're leaving, and they're also arriving at these places like Brazil or Colombia. They're also paying rent on top of the mortgage that they're leaving at home. So a lot of people, the narrative that travel bros are broke, that's far from the truth. Because I myself, when I'm traveling, I have bills back at home that I still got to take care of, along with the financial things I got to take care of when I'm traveling. But also to that, one of the reasons why I wanted to create my channel is because I wanted to break the myths and these cultural myths and narratives that these people talk about, the places that they've never been. So when I sit down with I had a model from the favelas on my podcast, and no one knew she was from the favelas. She was so refined. She has so much class. She was a professional model, and she worked in television, and no one knew that. And I never brought it up unless she did. But what I want to do is I want people to look and chime in on my podcast and see, oh, that's not what I really thought. And hear from the locals' mouth, not from my mouth.
All right. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you guys have to hop off, just hop off when you need to. Let me get through the super chats. Guys, everybody's channel is tagged in the title, so definitely go over and subscribe, support the movement. I, for one, just love the fact that men are refusing to lower your standards. These big bone baby mamas gonna be trying to shame y'all into lowering your standards. So salute all you guys for standing 10 toes down and saying no.